Well, firstly, just to make clear, I'm announcing my intention to retire, so I'm not stepping down yet. So I see myself being here for some time yet. And I think, the first thing I'd say is that I've been here for 9 years on the board. It's my 6th year as CEO. So I think it's timing-wise, it's going to be sometime soon. And when we were thinking about this, and I was talking to Damien, the chairman, we've actually done a whole lot of work over the last 5 to 6 years, and with all the projects we've done, pretty much most of them are completed. We've now got CHESS to be completed, and so the big question is actually beyond CHESS from 23 onwards, there is a whole new world that ASX has because it's actually done all this transformation. And so if that's a 23 to 28 role, that's not something that I think I'm the person to do. I think new energy, new person to come in and take that to the next level. And also the final thing I'd say is a lot of the work with CHESS, it is in the testing environment, it's working, there's thousands and hundreds of thousands of transactions going through. The last sort of big piece from ASX is bringing all the customers in. That's in the next couple of months. I'll be here, so I'll see that. And then this final piece is really the integration piece, and it's a delivered product then being integrated. We've got a lot to do with that, but it's sort of moving to the next stage. And so we thought that was sort of the sweet spot if you had to choose.
The CHESS project started just before you became CEO. It's been ongoing over those 6 years. Why are you stepping down before it's finished?
For the reason I said, because it's not about me. It's about the company. For the company, the best thing for the company is that someone hits the ground running with that, and that we cross over that, and that person gets to feel that and understand that before that happens. It's like if you were starting a new race, you wouldn't want to put the flag down and then actually say, oh, okay, now get out of the car, we've got a new driver. So I think if you think about it from the board's point of view and from my point of view, actually, if I'm not the 23 to 28 guy, because by then I would have been here sort of 15 years or whatever, it actually is trying to actually get the new guy in there or the new girl in there, it could be either, the new person in there to actually then grow the business from that point.
The project's also been delayed by 2 years until April 2023. How confident are you that it's going to open on time?
I think, well, first thing I'd say is the project was replanned as opposed to delayed, and the reason for that was it was replanned post-COVID. It was replanned because we actually added more capacity to it because volumes went through the roof, and it was replanned because we had more capability added to it in digitisation. And so, yes, it's been replanned, and you're absolutely right. It is a big project. We're all working hard, and the good thing is since we've replanned it, we've hit our milestones, big one being the ITE in November. That was hit. We bringing the customers in from April. We're looking forward to hitting that. Then it sort of becomes a whole market thing where we're all in there, and I've got probably a little bit less control of that. But there is a timetable and a plan out there. Everyone's aware of that, and that's what we're working towards, and we're working really hard towards it.
Because I've actually read a report today that says there are some market participants that are scared the project may be 6 months to a year delayed from April 2023.
Well, that's not what we see at the moment. We're working towards April 23, and we're working hard towards that, and we're hitting the milestones that we need to hit to do that. But, no one has a crystal ball as to how 2022 or 2023 will play out. And I guess, going to the replan point, I don't think we ever envisaged COVID and then volumes going through the roof and all of those sort of things. So all we're doing is we're just very focused, and we're just looking at April 23 and just making sure we tick things off as we go.
So when do you think there'll be a new chief executive?
Well, I think that's up to the board. I think if you start a process, I really can't tell. It's probably going to be a little while yet. I sort of feel like I'm going to be here for certainly quite a bit of time. And I think it goes to the way, at ASX in trying to be very transparent and very open and giving people ample opportunity. And I know, probably for most people when they got up this morning and read the paper, thought, oh, well, I didn't see that coming, because you sort of never do. And so, for me, it's important having discussions like this for people to understand that we've stepped back at this and looked at it in a logical sense for ASX and said, what's the best thing for ASX? And we think the best thing for ASX is to have that crossover.
Is there a chance the new chief executive might say the best thing for the ASX is to actually get rid of the CHESS project altogether?
Well, given that project is sitting in there and working at the moment in a test environment, if there was a problem, given there's 26 software developers working on it now, I think you probably would have heard that. So I think the risks you're talking about were risks that you might have said, a year or so ago or 2 years ago. But I think now The system's in there. People, it's having end of days every night. People are transacting on it, and people are testing it and pushing it around. And so I think that risk is something that's a risk of history.
ASX shares are down today. Do you put that down to you leaving or the rising costs that you flagged in this half?
I wouldn't comment on the share price, but I think, from reading some of the analyst reports just on the rising cost piece, I think it's quite marginal and probably not too dissimilar to what most organisations are feeling around town, which is this, incredible surge of demand for people. And if you look at ASX's main things that ASX does, it's technology, it's risk, it's compliance, and those are the things that actually there's a hot market for people for. So I think people understand that, or the reports I've read from the analysts tend to suggest that.
You also had a record number of listings in the half with 90. Why is the ASX such a popular place for IPOs?
Well, I think it's been it's a really good question. I think overall in the world it's been a big year for IPOs, but particularly on the ASX we've had a very strong time. There's been a lot. I guess it's the low interest rates. It's been a very hot market after the pandemic year we had in 2020, where things sort of like slowed down a lot. There's been a lot of M&A and there's been a lot of secondary capital raising. So, I would say that this is actually quite a standout half. What we've seen, 150 listings and 90 billion are numbers we don't see very often.
And share trading volumes went crazy in 2020. How did they go in the recent half year?
In the recent half year, only second to that crazy half, which was second half of FY20. And really that second half of FY20, if you look at it, March just stands out. And that was a thing that caused us to actually have to, look and replan the CHESS side of things, because we had suddenly a 350% increase in the maximum amount of trading happening. And so we talked to the market and consulted and said, actually what we're going to do is actually make the scale of the system bigger and add a few more bits of functionality.
And do you think this will be your last results as CEO?
Good question. I think it depends on how fast the board move. I think it could be. It may not be. I think it would be close. If I'm not doing next year, it wouldn't be. We would have moved quite quickly on the CEO.
And what do you see your legacy at the ASX? Is it the CHESS project?
No, I wouldn't. It's part of it. I think the important thing is there's three things. It's like the transformation, which is all of those things around the equity market. We've basically replaced pretty much most of that and a lot of our enterprise technology. Second thing is resilience. So incidents and outages are down roughly 90% over the time that I've been here. And the third thing is setting up optionality for ASX. The listing markets in technology, the DLT rollout, DataSphere, which is a big data platform, and the Simply asset. We've actually got a lot more optionality than we had 4 or 5 years ago.
Dominic Stevens, thanks for your time.
No, thank you.